Following the longest race of Season 5, the Saturday Night Truck Series come back to action. It's been a week since we've gone at it, and now, coming back from that break, we'll be taking on the tricky triangle in the Pocono Mountains. This is the Pocono Raceway, and qualifying is on the move for the Pennsylvania 125, with Jordan Coots, the top man, with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the board. Great to have you all once again with us here on FTN. It was a thriller at Charlotte that wrapped off the first segment of the tour, having 5 weeks of great racing, and now this is the halfway point. 6 races in out of 12. A lot of things have been set in stone. There's still some chances to upset the field, maybe make it into the playoffs, but right now it's all about those crucial points finishes. Alexander Russell came through his very first win of the season in Charlotte. Jordan Coots has been dominant. Lane Graves, Davis Lewis, both having wins as well, so you know what you got to go for here with such a small amount of time left on the schedule. The checkered flag is the overall goal, and every driver knows it. And if you're with us here on this Saturday night, great to have you all. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz, leading you through all the action here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. A lot of returning faces. We're looking right now at Brendan Carroll, 10th of the 10 drivers who have taken the qualifying lap. James Nelson, Curtis Barron have not yet set foot on the track. Alexander Russell, though, is making through for his final qualifying attempt of the day. 1 minute and 15 seconds remain for this number 27 machine. 3 iconic turns here in Pocono, combining to make one track. Of course, 3 turns, no fourth in this layout, and Alexander Russell is going to make it by the tunnel turn this time through, taking it down and into the apex and making it all the way out, getting a bit loose at speeds over 165 miles an hour, getting up to about 175 right before the final turn, and this will be the one and only attempt that Alexander has to get a lap on the timing sheets. Coming through this time by, going to be make or break in the session. It's Jordan Coots and Henry Kaloff first and second, but at the line, number 27 machine shoots up into first. Pole position for Alexander Russell, and it's going to be a last second qualifying run that puts him not only on the front row, but puts him on the pole. And it looks like right now he'll be the final driver to get a timed lap in. Russell comes in at the last second and only to be beaten by Matthew Weeks. Matthew Weeks goes up to the top, and the number 11 comes out of nowhere with 10 seconds on the board and puts it up to first. How about that for the number 11? And with only a few seconds to spare, Matthew will take the pole position away from Alexander Russell, and the number 11 will start at the top of the board. At some qualifying drama to kick off the racing, Matthew Weeks makes it up at the last second. An especially impressive run there to finish off our qualifying, and it went down to the wire between Alexander Russell, Matthew Weeks, and Jordan Coots. Jordan put his time up first, and it looks like it was both the drivers after him who really set the tone and putting themselves on the front row in just a few final moments. It looked like it'll be done and done for Jordan, but in 30 seconds, he goes from first to third and will be starting outside of your top 2. So without further ado, let's find out who's racing here for the Pocono Raceway in the Pennsylvania 125. This is the halfway point of Season 6. Of course, Season 5, I'll say, but round 6 of 12 races. Halfway down, halfway to go from here on out, and let's find out what's going on in the Pennsylvania 125. Matthew Weeks takes it up to the top of the board with just 10 seconds to spare. It's a 55.263 for Matthew Weeks and number 11 to get back on the pole position, just ahead of Alexander Russell in second, Jordan Coots in third, and JD Laird in fourth. They're all separate by less than a half of a tenth. You'll see the 55.263 for Weeks, Alexander Russell there with a 55.274. Jordan Coots is within striking distance with a 55.294, and JD Laird will be there in the fourth position, 55.309, rounding out the top 4. Then just behind, you'll see Henry Kaloff starting in the 5th position, 55.332 for the number 35 machine, and it's then going to be Alec Daffin and his number 48 in the 6th spot, 55.376 for Daffin. who had an especially promising run at Charlotte, nearly came through with his first Saturday night win in over a season, but it was Alexander Russell who came through with J.D. Laird and Liam Sheen to finish it off in an overtime-style finish. William Schmidt will be starting then in 7th, not too far behind the number 79 machine, coming back for the first time since Dover, and he'll be there with a 55.442, just beside league owner Vinny Tigner. Vinny going to be starting just behind him by 5/1000ths of a second with a 55.447. Roger Saucier is going to be starting in the 9th spot with a 55.699. First time we've seen a Roger this season, and Scott Erickson will round out the top 10, number 50 machine with a 55.72 there in the 10th position. From there on out, only a few of the drivers left on the board that took a time, but quite a few that haven't. Michael Deitch is going to be starting in the 11th with a Marshall Harris then in 12th. It'll be Austin Holsey then the 13th, and Brendan Carroll position number 14. 56.866 is the slowest time taken on the board. Final of 14 that put a lap down. Then it's going to be James Nelson starting 15th, Curtis Barron in the 16th spot, and to round out the 17th driver field will be Joel Brooks in the number 56. And that will be your starting grid for the Pennsylvania 125. Now, with 17 drivers registered, they're set to take to the track. And how's about we take a look around the Pocono Raceway before we get to all the action and get ourselves a track walk to get familiar with the conditions here in Pennsylvania. And as we have seen, Pocono Raceway always providing exciting action no matter when the drivers head to it. It always is a thriller. And as you can see right now, J.D. Laird going to be making it across the track. Curtis Barron right now on pit road, and let's take control and take it out of pit road for a virtual track walk to begin the day. 3 iconic turns from the Pocono Raceway. Let's turn ourselves around and put our focus on the track. Here we go through the first turn of the Pocono Raceway, and these 3 turns iconic. They've been modeled after 3 tracks with also very well-known histories and racing backgrounds. And the Pocono Raceway, which is put into development in the late 1960s, modeled their first turn after the now defunct Trenton Speedway, the most banking of all 3 turns here in the Pocono Mountains. And this one's going to be the fastest of which, with some speeds into the 180s entering this corner. Coming out though, you'll then see the first long straightaway, and it's going to lead you to the tunnel turn, and that is indeed turn number 2. Drivers coming through the first turn and on to the second. This one is not as highly banked, but you got to carry a lot of momentum. Much reliant on that momentum. Drivers build up as the run goes through. From the exit of turn 1 to the second turn, the tunnel turn modeled after the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And while it is not as highly banked, Indy sees high speeds, and so does the second turn. Second practice is going to be closing very soon, so we might not get to our third turn here. But of course, with the time that we do have, taking it through the tunnel turn, the final of the 3 turns is modeled after the Milwaukee Mile. And as drivers make it by the second and onto the third turn, it's less and less banking each and every turn around. You got to really prepare for every single corner on the track. There might not be many, but they're so different from one another, it'll be a challenge either way. Your Pocono track walk going to conclude very early, as it's going to be practice concluding. J.D. Laird, the top man on the order, number 23 machine, is going to be fastest here in second practice. And it looks like, thankfully, iRacing going to let us go through. Drivers are going to come down to pit road here and now as we take it through the Milwaukee modeled corner. It's down into pit entry. The access road going to be right beside Milwaukee, and we'll see our drivers as they line up in grid formation here and now. What turn 4 going to be plastered onto the wall here as they come through the front straightaway. The grandstands are packed with the virtual fans, and the crowd going to let these drivers know we're in for one fun night. Taking it down through the access road, we're going to make it into the pits. The scoring pylon empty for now, but drivers going to be lining it up in just 1 pace lap's time. 50 laps, 125 miles, and there you have it. From Joel Brooks all the way up to Matthew Weeks, your field is getting ready, and they'll be good to go in just a few moments to get the racing on here in the Pennsylvania 125. Putting our focus back on Alexander Russell, the number 27 is the man who leads this field through. Take a look at how many drivers are right behind him. Single file for now. They'll be putting themselves in double file formation. And once again, as it was last week in Charlotte, the JDR graphics trucks, they are showing up and looking to show off their speed and ability. Getting a 1-2-3 finish for all JDR paints. It was Alexander Russell leading Liam Sheen and JD Laird himself. And now with the iRacing official pace car just ahead, ready to grab the gear. Pit road will be busy, and it's time to find out what these drivers have as they make it in this time by. First trip to pit road going to be starting here and then back to the track. Now, the field is good to go. Matthew Weeks going to be the first man, and Matthew still looking for his first win this season. Multi-time race winner last season as the drivers, of course, putting on great shows with some long green flag action. That's where Matthew Weeks really came into form. He's one of the better drivers when it comes down to racing strategy and going for that long distance. So if Matthew Weeks is going to have a chance of the race win, most often it will come with some longer racing strategy, overall drawn out action. That's what suits that number 11 team, and for good reason. A lot of these drivers are capable of taking it for long green flag runs, and as they wait on pit road, it looks like now they'll be able to get it out of neutral, put it into gear, and get ready for the action here in the Poconos. iRacing official pace car will get out of pit road, and looks like the drivers will be soon to follow. Now time to get off pit road for the first time today and get set for the racing here in the Pennsylvania 125. And as the field comes through, it's going to be Matthew Weeks, Alexander Russell, Jordan Kuntz already lined up, and the field from there on out is sure to follow. Michael Deitch, number 51 machine, going to be right there. Marshall Harris is as well. Austin Holsey, Brendan Carroll, and even for the drivers in the back of the field, no driver going to miss the start. Everyone in the formation lap, moment after moment, they all get set up, and they're already going to be double file as they exit turn 1. So 50 laps of racing, 125 miles, not the longest distance, and this track is fast. So expecting to see some longer green flag runs to make the strategy a bit more interesting. These drivers might be done and done before 9 Eastern here, as it's going to be Pocono Raceway on the East Coast. This is a sprint of a race, and these drivers know it. They came off the longest race of the season, over 200 miles, and now gonna get a chance to kick back and relax a bit more. But at the same time, it's a shorter distance, so it might not be as intense. We're gonna see a bit more aggressive racing that much earlier. You've got to be on it every lap because the drivers know less distance means less time to put yourself up in front. If you're not paying attention as the night goes on, you might find yourself slipping back in the field, losing some time and track position. It's going to cost you if you don't have it. iRacing official pace car will drop in this time by to get the racing going. Once again, the halfway point here in the Saturday Night Truck Series. Season 5 has been fantastic so far. Can another driver put themselves in with a win on the tour? Let's find out. Green flag is on for the tricky triangle. Pocono Raceway sees green flag action as the Pennsylvania 125 is on the move. And at the stripe, Alexander Russell, he led the last lap of Charlotte. He leads the first lap today, already putting himself back up in a great spot. And it looks like now Russell's going to find himself with a half a second advantage over Jordan Kuntz and the number 5 machine laying back with Matthew Weeks in third. Alec Daff and JD Laird, they're going to be side by side as they come through this time by. It's going to be a lot of single file racing, not too much in terms of aggression. Guys like Vinny Tigner going to try to make a move down low. William Schmidt going to be put up high. 79 machine goes ways up to the top side and gets it back going. Now Schmidt's going to be in 6th, looking still for his first win of the season. That number 79 machine looked very competitive at Dover, then got involved with a 3-wide incident with lap machines, and he looked to be poised to take that race win on the strategic calls, but didn't play out that way, and Schmidt is still chasing his first chance at victory lane. Right now, for the I Set My Friends on Fire Chevy Silverado, it's going to be 6th place as they come across the stripe, chasing down both Alec Daffin and JD Laird at the same time. Looks like right now you'll see Henry Kaloff fading back a bit more, and Kaloff with a very strong qualifying run, almost started inside the top 3, but with some late qualifying runs for not only your eventual pole sitter in Matthew Weeks, but Alexander Russell and JD Laird. He got slotted just to the final spot of the top 5. Currently runs in 7th, so still going to be in striking distance of the battles up ahead, but going to be slotted out early as drivers want to get those placements and move on. Track position going to be very crucial because, as we've seen all season long, doesn't matter what track we go to, tire runs and fuel strategy, they will be as important as ever at the same time. The race day information is going to show you that we will have once again a limit on our fuel, but it's only going to be 90%, so not going to be 100% of the fuel load, but just enough to maybe see one pit run at the absolute most. Now, 50 laps of racing here at Pocono. I'm not expecting to see drivers go all the way on the fuel cell, but we might have some overtime finishes. We've seen 5 in a row here at FTN to this point, and we might see one more before the week is over. Some drivers banging the wall. Marshall Harris might have been one of which, but still everyone going to keep it the same, all straight together. Roger Saucier, Michael Deitch, Austin Holsey, all going to be together right now with no big issue. Number 18 machine going to drop down low on Marshall Harris, and Marshall going to see himself in the wall again with Michael Deitch at the same time. Deitch drops down low. Number 51 machine going to take him down to the bottom side. He's got himself low again, taking it through Milwaukee, this time through Deitch on the bottom. It's going to be Marshall Harris up high, and that number 25 is still struggling, once again making some contact with the wall, and it looks like every exit of the corner on that lap still in the wall. Doesn't matter if it's turn 1, 2, or 3. Now looking to recover from that as Michael Deitch going to take it way down low yet again. This number 51 machine still fighting as they'll keep it up in front as clean as the back. Alexander Russell going to be leading over Jordan Kuntz now by 1/10 of a second. Not a major gap right now, but just enough for there to be no trouble between each and every driver. Nice to see some clean racing to get things going, and it looks like right now that number 27 machine has himself up in front, and the field still lines back. Matthew Weeks gets himself up in a 3rd. Looks like not the strongest start for the driver, that number 11 machine, despite having the pole position, and with Jordan Kuntz now chasing down your race leader, it's going to be Matthew Weeks waiting in the wings, maybe to take advantage of any risky maneuvers that are put on just ahead of him. This number 11 machine is going to be laying back right now. He's got Alec Daffin just behind. William Schmidt's now in 5th, and JD Laird going to fall back into 6th. Every driver that registered for today's racing is on track. Brendan Carroll right now going to be moving up into 16th as he takes it down to the bottom side there. It's going to be Joel Brooks in that number 56. Close, but no thing's going to come out, and it looks like it's going to be still up in front. No big deal. You see Curtis Barron, he's going to be 15th right now, running smoothly on his own. Scott Erickson, that number 50 machine, going to take it down into Indianapolis, and at the turn number 2, he'll be alone as well. Doesn't matter if you're up in front or if you're in the back right now. No drivers putting on risky moves. 6 laps of 50. The big mentality is log those laps and get ready for the long haul. These drivers know that the short run, well, this race is a short run in itself, but even these little shorter distances before the halfway point might not matter all too much in the grand scheme of things. So keep your equipment clean, get there till the end, and make it a fun fight to the finish. These first 25 laps, it looks like Alexander Russell going to be happy with where he is. He hopes to lead the entirety of the field around all night long. He's got that advantage right now, but we'll see whether or not Jordan tries to make a move down to the bottom. 1/10 of a second separates your top 2 drivers yet again as we look on top of the number 5. Taking a look on board with Shaw Racing, number 5 machine of Jordan Kuntz. He's going to find himself now just beyond the back bumper of Alexander Russell as you take it through, looking at a 360 shot of what's going on. The number 5 machine has quite a lot of drivers to look back on here. Matthew Weeks is right there. Then his teammate, Alec Daffin. Daffin and Jordan Kuntz have been the best 2 teammates all season long. They're always up there looking for a race victory, and they've made it to each and every race on the campaign to this point. So I wouldn't be shocked to see those 2 drivers once again up ahead. They're 2nd and 4th right now, with Jordan having that advantage, and it's still Alexander Russell up in front, position number 1 for the 2017. So far, so good for Alexander Russell as he leads him through 8 laps in out of 50. Further on back, every driver holding their own single file to this point. William Schmidt going to find himself just ahead of J.D. Laird, and now looking onto the back bumper of Alec Daffin. Number 48 machine going to put himself in good position, but he looks like he's going to have some more pressure from Schmidt as the laps go on. A 79 machine going to find himself there in 4th. If he can get by the 48 machine. So far, that's only a hypothetical, and we'll see if he still has the pace to make any more passes. Right now, fastest driver inside your top 5 at the line, it is Matthew Weeks. The lap before was William Schmidt, so a bit of a up and around lap time. These guys are running around a 56.3 at the slowest. Alexander Russell ran a 56.267. It was Jordan Kuntz running 56.274. Further on back in the field, you'll see J.D. Laird is going to run a 56.327. So the draft, while they might have it right now in the back of the field, it doesn't mean as much to making those clean laps as you think. You might have all that tow right in front of you down the straightaways, but if you're not good through the corners, it's going to come back to bite you, and you'll lose even more time. So you got to understand how to take these corners here, the Pocono Raceway, and JD's now going to take it down to the bottom side of William Schmidt. Schmidt goes up to the high side, can't get much of it. Number 79 machine remains on the top, tries to get a better run at the corner. It looks like I'm going to make some contact, and Schmidt's going to be in trouble. Maybe that's going to be minor damage, but it could set in and lead to some more. We saw some drivers making contact in a more frequent rate. Notably, Marshall Harris made contact several times over, now finds himself in 11th, and with some pressure from Austin Holsey, we'll see how much more he can handle in that Miller's Ale House Chevrolet Silverado. For Miller's Ale House, you'll see not only it's going to be Marshall Harris, but it's going to be Alec Daffin, both running the same paint scheme tonight, and in addition, you'll see the Jordan Kuntz in the number 5 running the traditional Shaw Racing paint. So right now, Miller's going to get a lot of good airtime here, and the Ale House getting representation from not only of Alec Daffin's 48, but of Marshall Harris and the 25. Shaw Racing sending out 3 trucks tonight. It looks like Sam Benson not with us. He would be the 4th of which in the number 88, but Sam instead not going to be racing in this event. It'll be instead the 48, the 5, and the 25 up in front of the field. It's going to be Daffin and Kuntz, and it looks like right now Alec is gaining time on his defending champion teammate, and it looks like now Alec might be in the cards to get up to the podium if Jordan Kuntz continues to fade back anymore. Matthew Weeks going to find himself now in 2nd for JD Designs, and Matthew's getting closer to your leader of Alexander Russell, getting by the 2nd place driver beforehand. A big step. Now the only thing separating you from the leader would be the air in between, and that air is going to be a huge difference. Clean air, dirty air. If you can manage the air, it's about as big as having a lap machine defending you playing in the middle. So you can use these sort of differences in the way the drivers interact as an advantage or disadvantage. Right now, Alexander Russell certainly has the best spot in the track, using that clean air, getting around with much less to worry about, because if these drivers want to push, they'll burn up the tire, use more fuel, and eventually it's going to come back to have them worse off in the long run. And the drivers running so far 12 clean laps, we're sure to see some longer green flag racing. You can't burn up your stuff right now, knowing how important it will be to have it at the end of this race. As the drivers come through this time by, it's going to be Alexander Russell leading, Matthew Weeks then 2nd, and Jordan Kuntz position number 3. Alec Daffin's then going to be 4th, and William Schmidt is 5th. Henry Kaloff is then 6th with J.D. Laird, then in 7th. So far, so good. 8th is going to be a separation slightly to Vinny Tigner. Then you'll go back big for Roger Saucier and Michael Deitch. Michael Deitch in particular we want to mention in that number 51 team for 2 reasons, and we got to give him his due. This number 51, he's been running this University of Akron paint scheme all week long. You saw him, I believe, on Monday night in the FORL Truck Series. You saw him Tuesday night in the Highline Racing League. Then you saw him Wednesday in the FORL Cup Series and Thursday in the IORA Cup Series as well. Now, we took an off day on Friday here in FTN, but he's back once again with this paint scheme representing his university, and you might notice a few extra additions for this rendition of the scheme. The number 51 machine representing, of course, for the first time, the sticker on the side panel underneath the University of Akron. Now, that is going to be representing a most recent incident regarding Farmingdale and one of their high school buses. Now, this happened just a few days ago, and it came with a major crash on Interstate 84, loss of life, 2 deaths, multiple critical injuries to students, as it looks like one of Farmingdale's buses was involved in a major car crash. Multiple incidents, of course, 2 adults dying, and of course, 43 and 77, their respective ages, chaperoning the trip, and a major involvement in their music district, of course, in Farmingdale. And Michael Deitch, who has been seen representing the marching bands of his universities before, taking a deep interest as a Long Island native himself, so representing the cause here tonight, not only for the University of Akron, but representing and, of course, acknowledging the loss of life for Farmingdale and their school district. A major cause, and Michael Deitch looking forward to represent it even further, hoping that there would be some sort of reconciliation in this major incident that's happened just days ago and only miles away from the FTN studios as well. This is a very local incident for Michael Deitch and all of us here on Long Island, so hopefully there will be some sort of solution, but the loss of life is not redeemable. So Michael Deitch stepping up with the cause tonight and representing his University of Akron Chevy Silverado finds himself 10th and just ahead of Marshall Harris. He got that spot and the 25 fading back a bit further. Austin Hosey's going to be 12th. James Nelson's then 13th. Scott Erickson's going to be 14th with Curtis Abaron, position number 15. Brendan Carroll's then going to be 16th, and Joel Brooks will be then in 17th. 30 seconds separate your field as a total, and Alexander Russell makes it across the line for lap 15 of 50. And as always here in FTN, we saw 15 laps on the board, and lap 9 in particular we'd like to mention, always brought to you by Tango Paints. Now, we've seen a long green flag run, and if you want to find out a bit more about Tango Paints, not only do you have, of course, here on FTN to find out, but if you want to check out their Twitter in specific, their handle at Tango Paints is the one-stop shop for all you need to know about their paint schemes and liveries. A price you can't beat, starting at $50, and if you want to learn more, their Twitter with incredible examples, working with guys such as the McConey Setup Shop team, working with AncientWorld.gg for drivers such as Joey Stone, and you've seen their paint schemes before in FTN. Fantastic work. So once again, we'd like to thank our partners at Tango Paints for stepping up here and providing the official graphic design work here on the FTN YouTube channel. We'll check out a bit more about Tango Paints here with a promotional break and bring you back as we now go to lap 16 of 50. Tango Paints presenting all the action here live on FTN. Now it's 16 laps on the board. It's going to be Alexander Russell once again at the leading spot. He's got Matthew Weeks right behind him, but so far, so good for this 27 team. Nobody getting up in front, making a challenge for the race lead. It's been smooth sailing up ahead, and right now the drivers up in front, they know it. You want to get away from the trouble. It's early in the going. You do not want to wreck. You don't want to lose your equipment, and there's only one chance to get there till the finish at the moment. No fast repairs, and we have not been playing games so far. 25 laps. We might see some pit stops with guys splitting the fuel run, but that still is unlikely the way drivers are going. 90% is the fuel cap for tonight's racing. Henry Kaloff's right now in the second pack, with Henry Kaloff being the leader, of which J.D. Laird's going to be 7th. Vinny Tigner is then in 8th, and Michael Deitch is then in 9th. So it's going to be 3 major packs right now, then a few drivers running solo, and that's the way they've gone so far. And that's going to be a big deal if indeed we get those pit stops that we've alluded to. You want to be part of a group when you get through your pit runs, because if you're out there alone, you'll be much slower on the way out. If you lose cycle, you lose that sort of group you've been working with. That's a lot not only, of course, with the speed advantage and not having to work your equipment as hard, but you got that communication factor. If you work with these drivers long enough, it's not like Daytona or Talladega where you're directly influencing each other's races. You don't see many drivers pulling out double file like we see right now with Alec Daffin. These drivers are working a bit more passively together. You don't have to be as risky, you don't have to be as aggressive, but you got to understand who you're working with and how you can make this situation that much better. These leading five, they're fantastic drivers. Alexander Russell, he's your defending winner. Matthew Weeks is a multi-time winner in this league. Jordan Coots is your defending champion. William Schmidt, he has not yet won here in the SNT League, be it, of course, in this brand new revitalization of the Saturday Night Truck Series era, or beforehand, of course, going back at least a season. Here in FTN, at least, we have not seen him get to the checkered flag, but he knows what it takes as well. Schmidt is a very competitive driver, and Alec Daffin, he's not yet gotten it done on a Saturday night in our entire run broadcasting this league, but we saw him win at Kentucky that one Thursday night, and he came up runner-up in the championship. Just because we haven't seen him win doesn't mean he does not have the ability. He ran fantastic at Charlotte, and he was one of those drivers up there with guys like Liam Sheen all night long, giving it a very good run. When it mattered the most, Alec Daffin unfortunately caught out on strategy, and that's just what you got to do. Manage the strategy, manage your runs, your speed, the drivers you're around, and that's what we mean about having that communication. These drivers are not only quick by themselves, but they know what it's like to be in a competitive environment and have to race with others around you. You have to interact with those that you're working with, and right now, Daffin going to find himself in the back bumper of his teammate in Jordan Kuntz. These two Shaw Racing drivers have been elite all season long. Jordan Kuntz already has himself 2 wins, and Daffin, while not having any checkered flags just yet, is surely capable of doing so if things go his way. They just haven't so far, which is something to mention as the night goes on. Right now, it's going to be Jordan Kuntz right down low. It's going to be Alec Daffin up high, and side by side the two drivers will be, as JD Laird's going to be further back. It's about a 7/10 of a second deficit from 5th right now to 1st, and that's for your first 20 laps of racing between the top 5. Matthew Weeks now going to go down to the bottom side, finding himself way down low. Doesn't have a shot at it just yet, but it looks like he's already looking for an opportunity. Doesn't get the chance, but he's now looking for something. And 20 laps in, you got to start to set yourself up for what is next. These are the first laps of the race, the first 20 of which, even the first 25 or 30, that's setting yourself up for what is next. But when you're past that point and you're at the point where you have to tell yourself this is the next point, you got to get to the future, then you got to realize what you've been setting yourself up for, understand what you've planned, and execute upon it. These ideas, they can't stay in the minds for much longer. You got to put them in motion. And here at Pocono Raceway, a very tricky circuit with 3 very distinct turns, there's many opportunities to be made and some opportunities that might be wasted by other drivers. Mistakes, they are not at all infrequent. If drivers make them, you got to capitalize, and you got to look at it and realize there's now a chance. Go for it. William Schmidt made it up to 3rd. He gets by both Shaw Racing drivers, and now is going to be on the back bumper of Matthew Weeks. And this is what we mentioned about taking advantage of mistakes. Looks like right now both the 48 and 5 are fading back a bit further, and Schmidt's going to find himself now on the deck lid of the number 11. Schmidt, we're going to be riding on board with right now the 79 machine. Let's take a look inside the cockpit and find out what's going on. And taking a look inside William Schmidt's number 79 machine, he's going to be right there behind Matthew Weeks. This number 11 machine's been second for almost the entirety of the race, and the caution flies as soon as we mentioned that yellow flag is out. First time today, Austin Holsey. It looks like Roger Saucier and the number 18 in the wall, bringing out your first yellow flag of this event. Caution is out. Let's find out just what happened here as the yellow flag flies for the first time today. And the caution is indeed out here in the Pocono Raceway. Taking a look, overhead shot to show you what just happened. Saucier comes up the track, hits Austin Holsey. Looks like then Scott Erickson comes through, and it looks like Holsey comes down the track, hits Roger, and that's going to send them both around. Luckily, no contact there as Curtis Sabarin going to fly by. That's a very risky maneuver. Nothing comes of it, luckily. And either way, lap 22. We'll see the caution fly. Huge avoidance there by Curtis LeBaron, and the yellow flag is out for the first time today. Clean run, 22 laps in. This will bring drivers presumably down to pit road. We'll take a look up in front now with Alexander Russell, 27 machine. They're going through turn 2, and Russell's going to lead. Matthew Weeks, William Schmidt's then third, Alec Davin is fourth, and Jordan Coots is then in fifth. Field is organized yet again for what should be about a lap number 26 restart. The way things are looking, that should be our restart point. So far, so good up in front for an Alexander Russell. You see right behind Matthew Weeks in the 11 machine. William Schmidt then going to be third, and Alec Davin is then in fourth. That's the way the cookies crumbled so far. Dominance once again from the same team that's been running the show since Charlotte. It's JDR Graphics and their flagship driver coming down to pit road this time by. Green flag set to fly in just 2 laps from here, and the drivers come down to pit road led by Alexander Russell. Green flag not yet in the air, but this could determine the rest of the race. Money stop? Potentially. Drivers come down to pit road to figure out their strategy, as now we've got ourselves the full field down to pit road. Now drivers coming in this time by. Alexander Russell leads them through. Now the question is whether or not there'll be any undercutting or someone else trying to make it by and perhaps get through first out of all the others in the field. Could be someone trying to go for a short pit, 2 tires, less fuel. The gambles don't seem to be frequent, and Alexander Russell leads them by yet again. Alec Daffin's then second with Matthew Weeks now in third. Going to be Jordan Coots fourth, Vinny Tigner fifth. Looks to be now Henry Kaloff sixth, with JD Laird seventh, and William Schmidt fades back to 8th. Michael Deitch going to get up into 9th, with James Nelson now position number 10. And going to be Marshall Harris 11th, and Scott Erickson then 12th. Cursa Barron comes out 13th, and Brendan Carroll follows through in 14th, with Austin Holsey rounding out your top 15 after this pit cycle. Drivers get bunched back up to the iRacing official pace car. Number 27 machine is still your leading man. Alec Daffin is then in second, and Matthew Weeks is there in third. And so far, been clean action all throughout, and Alexander Russell gets set to go at it yet again as the leader. He's gotten a lot of experience up in front, but nobody's really challenged him so far tonight. These drivers knowing up in front that these are not the laps that will matter. A lot of time will go through from the first lap to the 50th, so why not get that first section out the way and get prepared for the most important point, which is of course going to be the remainder of the tour. These drivers know that if you made it this far, there's a much better shot to get to the end. Some drivers getting involved with incidents. Roger Saucier and Joel Brooks both going to be now looking to go 1 lap down. Roger's still on pit road after the damage he got from that wreck. Austin Holsey's back on the way, and Joel Brooks is now 5 laps down as it stands. Looks like Roger's going to get out just before these drivers get to him, and it looks like Alexander Russell, as they come across the stripe, will take the 1 lap to go signal. Number 27 machine leading the way, 24 laps in of 50. So we'll be coming back with 1 extra lap. So it'll be 25 of 50, halfway down, halfway to go when we get back to the stripe yet again. Green flag set to fly at 25 of 50. So far, been great racing here in the Pennsylvania 125. 1 yellow flag brings us back to pacing. So far, mainly clean, and Alexander Russell sees Alec Daffin on the high side. He and Alec Daffin went to a huge battle later in the race in Charlotte. New tires for Alexander Russell. Alec Daffin stayed out on an older set of Goodyear tires, and it ended up being those new tires that worked in a 3-lap shootout. Russell shot by the rest of the field and eventually came out with the win. And while it was not expected when the racing started once again, that final shootout saw the 27 soar by and was clearly the fastest driver on the track. But now, everyone is on the same strategy. Doesn't matter if you're first or if you're all the way down to last in Joel Brooks. Everyone has a 1-lap-old set of tire on them right now, and they're going to be all even as they come through Milwaukee one final time to get the racing back on the move. iRacing official pace car going to be leading them down with Alec Daffin in the first position up high, but it's going to be overall Alexander Russell as your control car. 27 machine will lead him down and in this time through, and as the iRacing official pace car sees the 1 lap to go marker, it'll come down to pit road and let Russell and Daffin do the rest. Turn 3, they'll exit this time by 1 caution so far and a lot of good racing as they'll come through inside line for the pace car. Pit road it'll go to, and Alexander Russell will lead him to the green. Green flags out yet again, 25 laps into 50, and Alexander Russell leads him through to get the first restart going. And nice jump there for Alexander Russell, leading them into turn 1. Alec Daffin not too far behind, and it's going to be Matthew Weeks and Jordan Coots right there as well. More double file action this time around. You'll see Marshall Harris is going to make quick work of Michael Deitch if he can just get a bit lower. Chooses not to and thinks better of it, but William Schmidt already trying to make moves around guys like Vinny Tigner. Tigner holds himself way down low, and they'll be sliding up the track a bit more. Schmidt nearly in the wall, nothing comes of it. Henry Kaloff's going to be there in 5th. Matthew Weeks is going to be in 4th right now, so they get shuffled. Now single file again, but no change for your leader. But one thing to note, the Shaw Racing drivers are connected. Alec Daffin going to be up ahead of Jordan Coots. They will be 2nd and 3rd right now, and with 25 laps remaining this time by, it could be the 5 and 48 working together to make some time back up. They're right behind their biggest rival of this event, and with 25 to go, they'll get into turn 1 deep and take him through Trenton all the same. Russell's got that advantage right now, but we'll see how much longer it lasts as they come down into the tunnel turn. They will go in just a moment's notice. Russell's got the lead. Looking further back, you'll see the entirety of the field staying single file, save for Alec Daffin, and Daffin's gonna wrestle with the 27, and it's gonna be Alec taking that lead right down low. Wiggles him up to the high side, and now there's clean air up in front, but only for a moment. Alexander Russell stays high, and they'll be door to door yet again. Door panel to door panel. They'll be beating and banging into turn 3, and they'll come out the same way as they exit the final corner. It'll be a drag race once again. Now Jordan Coots puts his alliance into Daffin's run, but it's going to be Russell leading that lap just barely at the stripe. Now Jordan Coots works his way down low to try to file out Alexander Russell. Russell stays up high. 27 machine very close to Jordan Coots now, but Alec Daffin, he is clear. New race leader. Number 48 machine still chasing his first win of the season and trying to break that drought, and it's going to be maybe another chance here tonight. Alexander Russell, though, remains on the bottom of the track as they go through turn 2. He got out just ahead of Alec Daffin, actually now ahead of Jordan Coots, and just like that, new leader, but Alexander Russell still putting down all the pressure. Just like that, with 24 laps remaining, it's going to be Alec Daffin leading. He's going to try to stretch that gap over Russell, and Jordan Coots now going to put this number 27 in a Shaw Racing sandwich. And with the teammates now working together to split up the number 27 machine, he's in the dirty air. He's got pressure from behind, some defense to work with from above. So it's going to be a tricky spot for Alexander Russell here, and that might have been the winning move already. Might be a bit early to say that, but with Jordan Coots behind as a teammate, he can do wonders for any team, and bringing himself over to the biggest team here in the Saturday Night Truck Series, Shaw Racing, a huge addition of talent, and it's going to help out the entire team, not just in chasing victories and championships, but in helping Alec Daffin having a very solid teammate to rely on in situations just like this. Daffin's helped out that number 5 before. Now the 48's got a shot to benefit from it as we now have 23 laps to go. As always, here in FTN with 22 laps remaining, we're going to crank it up courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. Visit TrackCams for Gourmets for more information about iRacing's premier track and camera service for all tracks and cars, over 100 different combinations, and we're going to crank it up uninterrupted with 22 laps to go, courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. And with only 18 laps to go, Alec Daffin finds himself out in front after a crank it up, courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. And I'll tell you this much, Alec Daffin looking to take it to the next level this season, trying to get that first win on the campaign. And this number 48 machine has been fast for sure, but just has not been able to execute to that very last lap. That has been the big caveat this season, as it was the last. He eventually came home with the win in Season 4. That was at Kentucky during our makeup race, and now trying to get it done in a full distance, full on race with 17 drivers in the field. Very consistent attendance week after week. As a matter of fact, we only slightly hit our peak last week at Charlotte, or rather last time we went racing. 2 weeks ago, it was at Charlotte, and we had about 19 drivers running by the time we got the green flag flying. It's been just about 17 every other week, and Daffin's going to lead them through a very stout field. It's not about quantity sometimes, it's about some big time quality. A lot of these drivers with a lot of experience in the sim racing world. Your top 5 iRacers will read off, of course, their iRating in the session. Right now, Alec Daffin, your leader, has a 51.44 iRating. Then you'll see Alexander Russell scored in second as a 53.13 iRating. Jordan Coots going down to the inside line has himself a 66.87 iRating. And in fourth place, looking right behind him, that's going to be the driver, the number 11 machine in Matthew Weeks. He has a 45.12 iRating. And then fifth in William Schmidt is a 36.19. And your sixth place driver, and that is JD Laird, has himself a 57.34 iRating. So these guys up in front, they do not mess around when it comes to iRacing. They are very, very talented drivers, and they have experience in competitive situations. Jordan Kuntz, he ran Road to Pro round 1 this season, just barely not making the top 70 for round 2. He is a very good driver in that realm, and here he might not win every week. That's how good the field is. Road to Pro caliber in a sense, and Alec Daffin really putting down his best run all season long. 16 laps to go, and as soon as he was able to get by Alexander Russell, soon came Jordan Kuntz. Take a look at that number 5 machine. It is the Shaw Racing 1-2 that they've been needing, and it looks like this time it's the 48 up in front. Shaw Racing look poised to have themselves at least $50 after last time we went at it in Charlotte, but eventually it was a 1-2-3 sweep for JDR Graphics, pulling home $100 as a team and $50 to Alexander Russell. And it was a change of fate in the final few laps, and it's what made it all the more intense. Alec Daffin surely thought he had a chance to get it done. If not, he thought he had it really locked up, but ended up being the tire strategy that made the difference. Tonight, though, tire strategy not going to be as big a deal. Everyone running on the same level of wear, give or take. And Joel Brooks going to be in a bit of trouble. He goes to the grass just a bit, losing some time on his average lap, but finds himself 17th all the same. 5 laps down, he chooses not to come to pit road. Looks like he hesitates for a moment and gets it back on the way. Either way, back up in front, the 48 machine of Alec Daffin. He has no pressure right now, but one driver who's cutting through slowly but surely is William Schmidt. He went down all the way into 8th, then from there got into 4th, and now he's going to be looking for the 3rd place on Matthew Weeks. Number 79 machine is just behind that number 11, making some time here now. Let's take a look at the from this close-up drone shot. Let's get some distance and take a look at all the drivers as they continue to work here in the tricky triangle. Getting some distance and elevation away from the field, your close-up drone shot now going to be moved further and further away. Taking a look at it, these free cameras are something we only put into place last week, and they are fantastic. William Schmidt we were focusing on first, and now you can see the entirety of the field spread out over this long 2.5-mile track. It's a tricky triangle for a reason. Large, fast, and it has quite a lot of unique characteristics. Every turn modeled differently, and now is Schmidt going to take it into Indianapolis and immediately gets it out. He finds himself just behind Matthew Weeks, and still is right there with your podium drivers. Alec Daffin's the man who leads the way in that first spot. Number 48 machine, a similar spot to where he was last week in Charlotte, leading many laps, but the win is still not yet a certainty. Love to lock it down, but it ain't over just yet. And that number 48 machine finds himself there in the lead. Then there's Jordan Coots, your defending champion, in that number 5, and he finds himself in 2nd. Matthew Weeks is then, of course, right there in 3rd. Right behind the back bumper of the 79 machine, the I Set My Friends on Fire. It's going to be not the Chevy Silverado, but instead a Toyota Tundra Schmidt rides just behind your podium sitters. And taking it back on our normal perspective here from the rear panel, you see a bit more from the drivers like Jody Lair looking at the deck lane instead. Maybe a Matthew Weeks, but we haven't gotten much closer to that number 11. It's going to be the front end of William Schmidt, all in focus with 13 laps to go. He's in fourth. Alec Daffin leads the way. 1-2 for Shaw Racing. Matthew Weeks is going to be held up by that number 5 machine. And just like that, they'll come down to make it an even dozen here in the Pennsylvania 125. One caution on the day so far, and it looks like we're once again getting a longer run like the one that started this race off earlier in the going. Looking further back here, closest battle right now on the track looks to be Michael Deitch and James Nelson. Nelson goes way up high. He finds himself now on the top side of Trenton. Michael Deitch going to take it down to the bottom, trying to make something work. He's got a run, but it might not be enough off exit. Going to take a mistake from Nelson, but he bobbles just a bit, so they'll be dead even down the straightaway if Deitch can just get a bit more side draft. Marshall Harris is there too. They're all fighting for the final spot inside the top 10. Right now, it looks like James Nelson and Michael Deitch are both inside the top 10, 9th and 10th respectively, and it is going to be Marshall Harris trying to get back up to them to steal a spot or two if possible. Right now, while Harris is a bit further away, he was running quicker laps than James Nelson and about on par with Michael Deitch. So as Deitch is going to get by and put himself into 9th, it could be a bit more movement from Marshall Harris too, not too far on back. And William Schmidt now finds himself in the 3rd spot up high, working with Jordan Kuntz. He's going to have to work a bit harder to get by Matthew Weeks down the front straightaway, but all pays off, and Schmidt now finds himself there in 3rd. William Schmidt there in P3. 79 machine going to be just behind the Shaw Racing duo, and it's going to be all about this number 79 machine trying to break past the teammates, and it's been a big theme all season long. Teammates control races, and we're not saying that, of course, entirely in a negative sense. Drivers might not like it, but that's the fact of life here in the Saturday Night Truck Series. If you are a driver who does not have a teammate working with you, you're going to be in a lot of trouble in races like this, because Daffin and Jordan Kuntz, not only are they fast, they're working together. Of course, they're going to race each other if they can. Right now, it looks like Daffin is simply a bit quicker lap after lap, but if William Schmidt can keep logging these laps, get the time worked out, he could gain a bit more time too and find himself in the fight later in the going. But how much later can he wait? 10 laps to go here and now in Long Pond, and he's waited this far. Maybe there's going to be a bit more coming of it, but I don't think so right now for the 79 machine unless he turns on another level of pace. That time by, he ran a 57.263, 57.197 for Kuntz, and means that the number 5 machine, despite giving that toe away, is still quicker. So maybe that's something to keep an eye out for. Schmidt is not yet faster than the number 5, although he's right there in the back bumper. Still hasn't gotten a shot, and take a look who's at the back bumper for sure. Jordan Kuntz gets real close to Daffin, sends him into turn 3, and as they get through Milwaukee once again, it's the 48 machine with a bit of assistance as they come around one more time. 9 laps to go. The single digits here in Pocono, and the number 48 machine takes him down the stripe yet again. 9 laps remaining in the Pennsylvania 125. It's going to be Alec Daffin leading from Jordan Kuntz in 2nd, William Schmitz in 3rd, and Matthew Weeks is in 4th. If you're joining us for the first time tonight, stick around. Don't change the dial. This is the home stretch in Pocono Raceway, and I'll be leading you through all of the action here on FTN. David Kreutz, your producer and commentator for tonight's race, and so far, it's been a fantastic show to watch. These drivers on edge, at the limit, and they've been racing very clean as well, which is the best part. Only one caution so far tonight. Drivers are very respectful and hoping to work it out every lap without much an issue. And so far, thankfully, that has been the case. Matthew Weeks is looking. Just beyond him is that podium battle, and William Schmidt is still trying to make up time to Jordan Kuntz. That time by, it was Schmidt quicker as the yellow flag flies again. 2nd yellow flag for JD Lair. JD's in the wall, and the caution flies for the 2nd time today. Number 23 machine up into the wall. Yellow flag flies, and we should have ourselves a 5-lap shootout to finish the race off. Caution is out. Instant replay going to show you what happened. JD Laird looks to be the most of trouble, and that number 23 machine fades back from outside of the top 10 in a moment's notice. Vinny Tigner comes down low, contact with the 23, sends him around, and some light contact with the wall. Luckily nothing major, but JD going to find himself further back than he'd like to be. Certainly 23 machine involved with 8 laps to go. Vinny Tigner there as well. That's going to be your second caution of the day, and as we mentioned it, clean racing for the most part. It looks like a bit more trouble that will bring us to the finish. Alec Daffin leads with Jordan Kuhn standing second, and the question now is, will someone try to take the gamble like they did at Charlotte and go for a bit of a different tire strategy? It's possible, but the way things have gone, it isn't all too likely, so we will see if there's going to be any changes. This would be the moment we find out, as drivers will take it down to pit road or opt to stay out on the circuit. We'll find out here now. 48 machine, Alec Daffin in first. Jordan Kuntz then going to be there in second. William Schmidt's going to be third, and Matthew Weeks is then in fourth. Alexander Russell's then fifth. Vinny Tigner sixth, is Henry Kaloff seventh, and Michael Deitch then in 8th. Position number 9 is going to hold on for James Nelson, and Marshall Harris rounds out the top 10 as he'll come down to pit road. This time by Alec Daffin will lead them in, and the 48 machine now finds himself up in front of what could be the money stop indeed. Looking to have no other pit stops on the day with so few laps remaining. Even if we have overtime, it should not matter. So 8 laps to go. This time through, Alec Daffin takes him in for the most important stop of the race. And now time to find out who makes that strategy work the best. Drivers come down to pit road. This time by, it's going to be Daffin coming through with Jordan Kuntz, both of which stop at the same time. Not too far behind, you're going to see, of course, guys like JD Laird, Alexander Russell. 48 machine came in with the lead. Will he get it out this time through? Let's find out. 48 machine gets it rolling. Schmidt's going to follow. Jordan Kuntz there too. Big run for Alec Daffin. Gets out ahead of his teammate Kuntz. Matthew Weeks is fourth, and it looks like he's going to be put up into third, just barely beating William Schmidt. And Alexander Russell is going to be there in fifth. Vinny Tigner not too far behind. Marshall Harris right there too. It's Kaloff, Deitch, and Nelson to round out your top 10. So a bit of a shuffle before things get going once more. How about pit road? Now it's empty, and the 44th lap. We've just hit it. Alec Daffin leads him once again with his teammate in Jordan Kuntz just behind. And so we're set to do it once more. Alec Daffin with all he needs on pit road, and he's got his teammate right there beside him, so he's got all the assistance he'll need to get by and get around. So I don't think he'll be in much trouble for the night as long as he doesn't make any major mistakes himself. So far, so good. Maybe he'll have something else in store. He might have to work it out a bit more with drivers like Weeks and Schmidt. They definitely want a chance to win as well, but it looks like so far Daffin's been better on these short runs, and getting the jump off quicker has been especially important for his cause, and maybe now he'll have a chance to do it all over again. 7 laps to go. Coming down, we'll have 5 laps left when the green flag flies once more. And if you've enjoyed the action so far tonight on FTN, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It is always greatly appreciated. These drivers put on great shows every Saturday night at about 8 Eastern. We get rolling, and it's been fantastic every time we've gone through. Prime time on this Saturday night has shown us great stuff from Pocono. Big track. It's a tricky triangle too. And either way, most drivers having very little trouble all night long. Only 2 retirees now in Joel Brooks and Scott Erickson. And as they come through this time by, 6 laps to go. Shaw Racing teammates up in front. Roger Saucier is going to disconnect at the same time. And now with the few that remain, they're getting ready to do it once again. iRacing official pace car, 1 lap to go signal is out. We'll be set to go for a double file run till the end. Only 5 green flag laps. Such a small amount of time to get this one done and done. These drivers know execution is key. If you can't figure it out right now, then it's better to just sit back and watch it. Maybe there'll be a wreck that will bring you back up there. Waiting in the wings might be the safest option. You do not want to lose everything when a wreck. You might have to sit back and watch these guys who are really on it. Figure it out. Daffin's down low. Jordan Coots way up high. Strategy is neutralized for the second time. Everyone looks to be on the same set of tire, same load of fuel. It is all even for one last dash. Daffin low, Jordan Coots up high. The Shaw Racing teammates have one goal in this restart as they come through Milwaukee this time through. Organize the jump. If Daffin gets that dash out and he'll bring Jordan Coots with him, they'll be in great shape to go till the end because it looks like single file is the way they run after about a lap or two's time. Now it might be a bit different. Aggression might be higher, and we might see drivers push in a much different way. That's not confirmed just yet, and drivers will make that decision as they come through here and now. iRacing official drivers are going to see the iRacing official pace car come through to pit road, and Daffin leads them once again with 5 laps to go. We're back on our way, and the restart gives Shaw Racing a 1-2 jump they desperately need. And that's all that Alec Daffin needed to get back in front yet again. Take a look at that number 48 machine. One big slide, Curtis Barron. Looks that he's still good. And the JBL truck keeps on going all the same. 1-2. Shaw Racing. William Schmidt now in third. Schmidt's going to find himself back in the final spot on the podium. And he's going to have to drive as hard as he can for a chance to get this win. Looking on board yet again with this number 79 machine. He has been consistently the third best driver to these two in the Shaw Racing equipment all night long. And now the Shaw truckers have it up in front. The only goal for Schmidt is to get back up there, catch him, and run him down all the same. You'll see right now how hard these two up ahead are pushing. Right now, they're giving it all they have, 110% to keep that lead. And with 4 laps to go, that's the way it could stay, as Daffin and Schmidt are going to be separate now by 0.3 of a second. Jordan Coots providing that ever-important buffer, which is going to keep these two leaders separate, and he's going to stay on the back bumper of his teammate until the job is done. Coming down the backstretch once again into the tunnel turn they'll go. It'll be Indianapolis take him through the second turn as William Schmidt now fades back just a bit more. He got it by Alexander Russell and Matthew Weeks, who now fight for 4th. Russell's going to find himself position number 4. 5th is going to be Matthew Weeks, and Vinny Tigner is then in 6th. Henry Kaloff's then 7th. Michael Deitch is going to be 8th, and James Nelson will be then in 9th. And then J.D. Laird will be then in 10th. So right now, everyone gets off to a great start. 47 laps in, 48 now, and it's going to be 3 laps to go for Alec Daffin and the entire number 48 team. Looking to get it done for Miller's Ale House. It looks like they've got that advantage clearly for the rest of the field, save for Jordan Coots. Right now, Daffin's got it exactly where he wants to be, and he's going to be in one of the better positions for any driver, no matter what track position they're in, or no matter, of course, where they find themselves in the pack. This is the best place to be with a clean air and the support from a teammate. If you can keep on going from here on out in just 2.5 more laps, just over 5 miles, you'll be set to the promised land for a first victory. And Daffin knows how competitive this field has been all night long. Coots has multiple wins. Alexander Russell already has a win under his belt. And William Schmidt, just like Daffin, is fighting for the win, as we'll have an overtime finish. Marshall Harris finds himself spinning, and it looks like the 25 machine, a Shaw Racing teammate, brings out the yellow. The Shaw Racing drivers might be in jeopardy for the 6th consecutive broadcast on our week. And that's every one that I broadcasted. We find ourselves with an overtime finish, and I believe that's the record here in FTN, as we find ourselves with an overtime once more. It's going to be a wiggle and a wiggle again, and it's going to be 25 machine Marshall Harris. He doesn't hit anyone, but that brings out the caution, so it looks like Daffin and Coots will have to fight for it once more. It's no longer a guarantee as the caution flies with 3 laps to go. Marshall Harris brings out the yellow flag, and now his teammates will have to fight that much harder up in front. Surely not the most welcome news here for Alec Daffin. He'd love to have had the chance to finish it off then and there, but now that's not going to be the case. He finds himself in a much more tricky situation. William Schmidt, who drove as hard as he could up into 3rd, gets it there, and we're hearing some word inside the driver chat room. Looks like some trouble from Scott Erickson at the same time. Looks like, according to him, his wheel gave up just a few laps to go, and he finds himself absent from this restart. So it looks like just like that, the 50 machine out as well. Looking further back, 3 laps to go. We still have 13 drivers on the field. Matthew Weeks just disconnected. And the number 11 machine having some trouble. He just disconnected under a minute ago. Let's find out what happened here for Matthew Weeks as we'll take it back 60 seconds to get that instant replay. Matthew Weeks is going to disconnect himself from the session. And number 11 machine has been now off the track for over a lapse time. Yellow flag is out. We're taking it back further to understand if this is an internet issue, a hardware malfunction. Taking a look now at Matthew Weeks. We'll see whether or not he got himself caught up, but I don't believe he did. As you'll see, nobody he was involved with, but he still ends up disconnected and now might be out of a shot for the race win. And taking a look through, yes, Matthew Weeks just finds himself off the track, immediately disconnecting there as the yellow flag flies. And it looks like no incident brings that out, but Daffin now has himself control yet again. 3 laps to go, lap 50 of now, an extended 52. We'll be set to finish this race off at what appears to be lap number 53, so extending it by just under 10 miles, or just about 3 laps worth to get the show back on the road. 3 laps to go, it's Daffin, Kuntz, and Schmidt with Alexander Russell then in 4th. And with Jordan Kuntz and now his teammate Alec Daffin still up there in the top 2, they've got as much control as they need to run all the way till the finish. But the question is now, as William Schmidt has that track position, this is the best he's looked in a restart all night long. He's had to fight and claw through multiple times over. He was down as low as 8th when we came through for our first pit stop cycle, and now, as we have ourselves an overtime finish, it's going to change yet again. 2 laps to go. Go big, go home. And overtime procedures here in iRacing, they're mostly the same. Here in the Saturday Night Truck Series, only 2 attempts, but the typical amount is 3. So here's how it goes down as drivers come through the start-finish line yet again. Drivers have the chance to keep this race under green with a green flag finish. So what happens is, if we have ourselves a yellow flag before we get to the start-finish line for the white flag, then we'll be able to get ourselves another caution to extend this race. You see the drivers make it by this time through. They are already going to be on their way in. And out of focus, they'll go into turn 1 in Trent. Coming through this time by, they'll be going on once again. As we mentioned, white flag is the most important part of the race now. You make it to the white flag, the race is official, and that will be that. You got to make it there to that 1 lap to go signal, and there's no turning back. However, we still have 1 attempt extra to get this race done under green. If we don't get to that point, then of course, we'll have ourselves a race finish here, checkers or wreckers. If we get to that 2nd attempt and we have ourselves another caution, doesn't matter when, the race will be over and that will be it. So these drivers know we're almost at the point of return already. No return, shall we say. There's still 1 chance to get back into grips and get that green flag run, but it's not a lot of time. Very little. As they come through this time by, the 48 machine of Alec Daffin leads the way. Jordan Kuntz right there side by side. William Schmidt then in 3rd. Shaw Racing 1st and 2nd. SKS Motorsports, they're 3rd. It's JDR Graphics then in 4th. And the superpowers of this league are now all up in front, looking to fight for what they desperately desire, a race win. Of the 4 up in front, 2 of which have not yet won this season, 2 of which have, and 1 of which already has multiple wins. Vinny Tigner's in 5th with no wins this season, and Henry Kaloff is still looking for his first career win. Don't count these guys out either. Henry's now up in front where he was in qualifying, and Vinny Tigner stays once again for a quiet and consistent run. The big drivers against the little. The Davids of this leagues and the Goliaths, they're all clashing one final time here in the Long Pond's biggest raceway. The Poconos will come alive for 2 more laps of racing here and now. Drivers come through with 2 laps to go in the Pennsylvania 125. Daffin leads them, and we're back on our way for our first overtime attempt. Daffin going to be able to get that jump off of the start-finish line, gets himself in the lead again. Alexander Russell jumps up to third immediately over William Schmidt. Top two break away once more now with 2 laps remaining. All that Alec Daffin needs now is another clean lap. He's got his teammate right behind him playing on that defensive note. Russell's going to stay second, and William Schmidt now wants to fight back for third. It will drop down to the bottom side, not much room. He'll have to stay there in the 4th position, at least for the time being. But the drivers know with this coming lap, it will be the final lap as they come across the start-finish line. 1 lap to go for Alec Daffin of the number 48 team as they make it through one last dance. It's going to be 2.5 miles to get this one done, and Curtis Barron's on the wall just a bit, but not all too much. White flag is going to be out. Daffin now finds himself going through 1 and 2, about 1/10 of a second away from his teammate in Jordan Kuntz. Alexander Russell remains in third, and William Schmidt is them there in 4th. Daffin now has himself the advantage he needs. Teammate right behind. He's got the support and only has 2 more turns to go to get it done. Alec Daffin's going to make it out of the tunnel turn with Jordan Kuntz right on his back bumper, and as he goes through Milwaukee, he was looking for a race win last week. He's been looking for one for over a season now. Saturday night has not come to him in over a season's time, but in the Pennsylvania 125, the streak is broken. At the start-finish line, Alec Daffin gets back to victory lane and wins the Pennsylvania 125, coming home for the first time a winner here in Season 5. Daffin wins and gets it done with his teammate Jordan Kuntz riding home second. Alec Daffin comes through for his first win this season, and even though he got a win last season, he was not able to get it on a Saturday night, but now he's got that pace to win here, and it looks like in the SNT League, he's back on top with the Shaw Racing teammates forming up yet again. It's Alec Daffin over Jordan Kuntz in second with Alexander Russell third, William Schmidt fourth, and Henry Kaloff then in fifth. Gonna be Vinny Tigner sixth and JD Laird seventh with James Nelson eighth, Michael Deitch then in ninth, and then Austin Holsey in 10th. Gonna be from there on out, Marshall Harris in 11th, Curtis Barron in 12th, Brendan Carroll 13th, Matthew Weeks, your pole sitter 14th after a disconnection, and Scott Erickson 15th, with Roger Saucier 16th, and Joel Brooks in 17th. As Alec Daffin comes through to the start-finish line, he is set to burn down the house. This one's been a long time coming for this number 48 team. They've been waiting longer than almost anyone else in the field to snap that streak. And now Daffin is back on top, set to celebrate like he's never celebrated before. As the drivers come through, Daffin set to be alone on the start-finish line. And how's about we follow him here with a drone camera and see what's going on? Start-finish line going to come alive with Alec Daffin looking to burn down the house as we turn our attention to the number 48 machine and see the celebration as he puts on a smoke show here in Pennsylvania. It looks like Daffin already going to turn back here, so we'll chase him back down. Number 48 machine gets to the start-finish line and already puts it back in reverse. So 48 machine going to be doing it a bit different here, as he'll now find himself on a reverse Polish victory lap all the way up to the top. Taking a look at that number 48 machine getting away from our shot here on the drone camera, and he goes through turn 3 without any hesitation, taking it back one more time in reverse. He gets set to celebrate very, very soon, taking it all in, absorbing what just happened. We'll have your top 3 interviews to end off the night. Daffin makes it around. He's ready to celebrate this one, finding the perfect place to get the party into motion. See, he's sort of out of focus already there, so we'll bring it back and try to catch up with him as he goes through the tunnel turn. Daffin gonna make it by the wide angle shot showing you he is alone on the track, and that's no problem at all for this 48 team. Shaw Racing's been waiting to see Daffin make it back for quite some time now. He's been one of the most successful drivers historically, but has yet to get it done overall individually in quite some time. Taking a look here at the grand scale of the Pocono Raceway, and you'll see alone in one of the biggest tracks in oval racing. 2.5 miles. Tracks this size are always hard to conquer, no matter where they are, no matter if it's a plate track or otherwise. And it looks like now Daffin's set to come back to the start-finish line to burn it down once again. How's about we meet him there as we drop it down into your start-finish line and watch the party start all over again. Daffin is coming through this time by, and you'll see him as he makes it in this front stretch. Time to see the smoke show in full force. And it looks like instead of a smoke show, he takes one lap and absorbs everything. Daffin, he's not going to burn down the tires, and he instead parks it right by the word mark. It's the tricky triangle, and tonight he tackled it better than anyone else. Alec Daffin is a winner again and gets it done here from the Pocono Raceway, winning the Pennsylvania 125. And it was a calm celebration, knowing how long he's waited, absorbing everything as it came back to him. Daffin is a race winner, and how's about we get our top 3 interviews and start with that number 48 getting it done on top. How about that for Alec Daffin? We'll bring him in right now as it looks like he's not yet in a voice chat, and we'll find out how our race winner's feeling as he gets it done for the first time on a Saturday night in over a season's time. The Pennsylvania 125 tonight, you come back looking to find that victory lane. It's eluded you for quite some time here, but Alec Daffin, the 48 team, is back as a winner, winning here in the Pocono Raceway. How does it feel to be back on top?
Definitely a long time coming, David. I mean, we came so close so many times, and yeah, we got the win last season, but it was like a 9-car field. We had all the top dogs here tonight, basically, and we went out there. Maybe we weren't the outright fastest car, but I mean, we were up there the whole time, and we held our own, held them off when it mattered most, and got the job done.
Getting the job done when it mattered most here. Looks like when you got up in front, there was no going back. Great with that clean air, huge advantage, and the strategy paid off as well. So what was the biggest thing for you in terms of getting this win and keeping it up in front?
Definitely the air was a big thing. I mean, early on, like the first round, we had like a 5-car breakaway, and then Schumacher was up front, and I mean, the draft was a big thing for sure as well, because like everybody was staying with him, and then once I got on front, like everybody was staying with me. So sometimes it's kind of hard to tell who's fast or who's not, especially when you're all in traffic. But yeah, we went up there, got the lead, and made a little contact with Schumacher there. Not sure whose fault it was, but thankfully I didn't get damage from that, and I pounded the wall twice off of 2, and thankfully with this damage, all these things are bulletproof. So I mean, definitely a lot more forgiving than the old one. So, but yeah, once we got the track position, just definitely just not making mistakes, and also gotta give a shout out to Joran Kuntz, because he worked with me a lot throughout the race. Like, I kind of pushed him a little bit early on, and then he worked with me there in the closing laps. Yeah, a couple times he could try to pass me, he didn't. So, gotta thank him for that. But yeah, ultimately just everything came together tonight.
And everything comes together to get back into victory lane. With this win in mind, it's going to lock yourself in for another championship chase. And next up on the schedule, we'll find ourselves on another chaotic track in the Talladega SuperSpeedway. After Pocono, another big track on the schedule. So that's going to be our final race of the regular season. How do you feel heading into it?
Talladega is usually kind of hit or miss for me, but thing is, I'm probably not going to be there next week, because I was going to go watch super late models in real life. But thankfully, got the win tonight, because I think we would have been locked in no matter what on points, but this will definitely should solidify it. So, but hopefully everybody has fun next week, and yeah, we'll be looking forward to, I don't know where we start the playoffs at, but wherever it is, hopefully go have a good run there.
And hoping to keep it up in front, Alec Daffin's been waiting for this one, and tonight in the Pocono Raceway gets it done. Anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, once again, thanks, Joel and Chris, for working with me tonight. Thanks to Cameron Pierce, iRacing Prox, for being on the team. Thank you, Dave, for doing the broadcast as usual. Vinny and Carter for putting on the league. My Twitch viewers for watching my stream. Had my girlfriend in there tonight, so Caitlin, love you. Thank you for watching. And yeah, that's it.
And there we have it. Alec Daffin gets it done. The number 48 team winning here in the Pocono Raceway. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, David.
With Alec Daffin on the move, your second place driver gets it done for Shaw Racing as well. 1-2 finish for Shaw Racing yet again, with Jordan Kuntz second place on the day. How do you feel?
I feel great. It was an amazing race. Definitely struggled the first run, but picked up the second run and was really fast and made the truck work all night.
And everything working very well for you and Alec Daffin. Shaw Racing had the dominant equipment all night long, and of course everyone's equal, of course, in setups, but you two had something figured out. So how was it working with your team up in front to keep things much smoother?
Well, I know that working as a team, I knew that he would probably be easier on me as a teammate. I knew that going into the race, and just two trucks is easier to defend versus one than just one-on-one. So I knew that if we wanted to stay 1-2 and have one of us win, it would have been easier if I just stayed behind. And I didn't want to risk losing any more position than I did. I was happy with the second place, and I'm happy that we got a 1-2 out of it.
And a 1-2 finish, another big accomplishment for Shaw Racing. Both of you locked in firmly to the playoffs now. One extra race before we go there. Regular season finale at the Talladega SuperSpeedway. Any thoughts before we head to one of our most chaotic tracks?
I just hope to go out there, survive, and be there at the end, and see if I can get another win for Shaw Racing.
And looking to get it back up in front, Jordan Kuntz gets yet another podium for this number 5 team, pulling it through second place in the Pennsylvania 125. Anything else you'd like to add?
I'd like to thank everyone who runs this league, Vinny and Carter, for all they do to help this league operate. And yeah, it's just been an amazing time in this league as of recently. Have good car count and really good quality racing as well. Really clean and long green flag stints. Unfortunately, didn't get a green flag pit stop in this time, but it was a really fun race overall. And also shout out to Cameron for putting me on Shaw Racing to give me this opportunity to work with Alec and get this 1-2 finish.
And pulling it through for another successful finish, Jordan Kuntz, second place here in the Pocono Raceway. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now Jordan Kuntz, second, one final driver, and for Alexander Russell, keeping that momentum up. Your Charlotte winner comes home for another podium on the day. 2017 gets it done for a third place finish here in Pocono. How do you feel after this race?
I feel pretty good. It was just I ran my race pretty clean. I made a couple mistakes, but it was a solid run. Just we had speed. At the end it was pretty unlikely, but I just ran. I got all I could, and I had a pretty solid day for our 2017.
Another solid day for this team, pulling home another podium, and so far, the second half of the regular season really putting together the best of the best for this team, and another great run. Different track from Charlotte, that's for sure, but still same amount of pace. So how was it working up in front with the top drivers in that main pack? Because it seems like the 5 or 6 who really had the pace pulled away all night.
I mean, pretty much my whole strategy tonight was just have fun. I need to get a better mindset in, and I just came into this race being like, hey, I'm not a big fan of Pocono. I just want to come out and have a solid day. And when we had speed, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to run my line, run my race, focus more at the windshield than the mirror, and things just kind of fell into place to where I had a solid run. I felt great. Car felt strong. I think it could be a change of tides for the season, maybe.
And that's a great thing to hear just before our playoffs. One more regular season race, it's Talladega. So I think it's not going to much affect your season or many of those who are already locked in, but still another chaotic track to bring us to the playoffs and the final races of this tour. So anything else you'd like to think about, of course, before we head to a regular season finale?
I mean, Talladega, it's up in the air. I'm going to run around, have some fun, keep that good mental attitude in, and something happens, but playoffs are the big thought, and that's all I'm really focused for. It's just having a really solid run, getting our cars where they need to be, and just showing that I'm here to run a race and put it together.
And putting it together yet again, Alexander Russell comes through for a third place finish here in Pocono. Anything else you'd like to add?
Just thanks for the JDR graphics. I think the car is always beautiful. You guys for broadcasting, the league for hosting, and everyone for showing up. It's going green like this is something that I really enjoy and hope we do more of.
And there we have it. Long green flag runs at an overtime finish. Bring Alexander Russell third here from Pocono. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
With Alexander Russell on the move, final driver on the podium. It's Alexander Russell then third, Jordan Kuntz second, and Alec Daffin as your race winner. 48 machine comes home on top and gets it done yet again, but this time on a Saturday night, finally pulling it through on top of the stacked field we have this season. Season 5 has been fantastic, and we still have one more race to look forward to before our playoffs, so keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a fantastic night of racing next Saturday. It's going to be Talladega Superspeedway. Keep your eyes open as we'll have another broadcast here only on FTN. We'll be live next on Monday night with a triple header as always. Schumacher Racing League, Integrity Ignite Series, and the FORL Truck Series. 2 great groups. Make it 3 now. FTN's back to its triple header as we've done for a majority of these Monday nights. So keep an eye out for that as well as we'll bring you another full week of action on iRacing. I've been your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz. Great to have you all watching. If you did enjoy, be sure to like this stream and leave a subscription to the channel. It's always greatly appreciated. It's the most direct means of supporting this channel that anyone can give to us. It is absolutely the best thing you can do. If you want to support us, it's free, and we hope you have fun watching these broadcasts. So once again, we hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation of the Stock Car Racing League's now the Saturday Night Truck Series 6th race of the season. This is the Pennsylvania 125 from the Pocono Raceway, and we've had another night of fun here on FTN. From our studios to your homes, we hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation of the Pennsylvania 125, and we hope to see you as a viewer once again whenever we're live on FTN. We thank you all for your immense support, and we hope that you have a great night.